sports fans. But nevertheless, we're back. We're back in action, Doc. This has been, what, a 2-month hiatus, I believe. It's been a while. It definitely felt like 2 months getting the whole setup ready, but that's besides the point for tonight. And we're going to have a good night, Doc. We got a whole lot to get off our chest, and really, we couldn't have picked a better 2 months to kind of take a break. I know having a weekly show is very grueling, being on the air for 1 hour a week, but we took our time off, and it turns out that that was probably best for us because there's really not a whole lot of good stuff going on in the world of sports in terms of baseball. So that's kind of our main focus today, Doc. So we're Yankee fans. I feel like we got to lead off with the Yankees picking up 2 months ago, Doc. If I told you right when we were going to go on our little break that the Yankees would be in last place still, 15 and a half games out of first place, 3 games under 500, we wouldn't have bought that for a minute, would you have?
Not for a minute, with or without Judge. Not for a minute. It's not a good time to be in the hospitality industry and be a Yankee fan. Not too many guests are wearing any Yankees merchandising. I feel bad for the merchandising right now for the Yankees.
And it certainly has been a tough stretch. We can't pull out our Yankee gear, that's for sure. A lot of the guests, turns out though, we're both kind of making fun of them at this point. We're Yankee fans too, so from that standpoint, no one's really happy with our Yankees, and I mean, there's too much blame to go around, Doc, especially in 2 months' time since last we talked about this. I mean, going back, you mentioned Aaron Judge. That can really kind of be the one, catalyst to the downfall of the season because they're in LA. Aaron Judge, of course, goes out for that fly ball in right field, stubs his toe, and just a freak accident. I mean, that's not an everyday kind of accident that happens in the Major League. That was like just a 1 in a million shot that he could just jam his foot right there in a spot. That's the only ballpark that has something like that. And in LA on a Sunday night, and what happened was, going into that series, Doc, they took 2 out of 3 against the Indians, lost the series to the Rays. They swept Oakland. They came out 2 out of 4 against the Rays. Should have been 3 out of 4, but a very good series against the Tampa Bay Rays. Could have gone either way there. They won the series against the Blue Jays. They won the series against the Reds. They swept them. Very close series against the Orioles. They came out of the San Diego series. They had an offensive clinic against the Seattle Mariners. And then going into the Los Angeles Dodgers game, the Yankees were rolling. The whole month of May, they were looking good after kind of a so-so April. Yankees look like they were kind of getting their feet under them. Now, of course, the Rays and the Orioles were kind of on their way up, so the Yankees were fighting in that second or third place spot. And then once Judge went on the shelf, that was kind of it, and no one stepped up to the table for the Yankees. And I think once the Yankees kind of realized that no one stepped up to the table, and that's who they are without Aaron Judge, I don't think they could have ever recovered. So, just like you said, losing Judge, that was definitely a big loss, Doc.
It seems the only time you can get a Yankees win now is to go onto the Classic Network. This is ridiculous. This is unbelievable. I don't think I've ever remembered the Yankees being so bad.
And as Yankee fans, it makes it even worse that the 2 teams that are in the lead right now in our division, the 2 teams that are fighting for the lead in the division, the Rays and the Orioles, if you put their payrolls together, I don't even think they have a third of the payroll that the Yankees do. We're going to have to get our statistician Bobby Blackjack on that, but the Yankees have a payroll in the high 200s, and the Rays and the Orioles are nowhere near that, and it all just comes down to youth, and really, if you want to pin it on someone for this Yankees, and that's what we're going to do for kind of the next half hour, assess blame for this New York Yankees squad and the downfall that we've seen in the last 2 months. It all starts at the top with the general manager and Brian Cashman.
Let's get Cashman out. Let's get Aaron Boone out. Let's get some new blood for the Yankees. Let's get Don Mattingly, even a Ron Bloomberg, the first DH in the American League. Let's get some people that want to win.
Maybe Billy Martin for another stretch, Doc. Maybe get him for number 5 or 6. However many times Billy Martin's been there. But these last 2 months have just been a complete free fall for the Yankees. There's so many more spots. I think as sports enthusiasts, it's tough to assess one moment in a 162-game season, and it might be a little lazy to even say, oh, is that Aaron Judge moment? But really, when you look at the schedule and what they were doing beforehand and they were kind of getting rolling, it's kind of damning to see before and after losing Aaron Judge. But even so, this roster was a World Series roster with Aaron Judge, and you think losing just one player in a 9-man lineup, but they could still be a World Series contender. No one stepped up to the plate, and the offense has been poor. And then, of course, when Aaron Judge comes back, now they flip it. The offense is still bad, but now the starting pitching is even worse. And this whole team is kind of breaking down with Brian Cashman. So it's a very tough times being a Yankee fan right now. It is, we never thought that the Yankees and the Mets would basically, their season would be done at the beginning of August. And going into the trade deadline, I think there was definitely the same thought process between both New York teams, Doc, and that was to sell. I think adding would have just been fooling yourself, and even fooling the fans too, which is one thing that you can't do. So going into that trade deadline, the Mets, they sold a couple pieces, right? They sold Verlander, they sold Max Scherzer, but the Yankees on the other side, even in the entertainment industry, Doc, the one thing that is extremely damning you to be guilty of, you can either be good or bad, but I think what's worse is indifference, is that people are indifferent to you if you're just middle, a 5 out of 10, and that's what the Yankees did at the trade deadline. They stayed pat, and they did not do anything. They did not get better. They did not get worse, and they just kept that same lineup out there. So difference is kind of the word for the Yankees at the trade deadline.
So that's where it stands. You have a great ball club, a World Series lineup. So I say that you save money if you're the Yankees. You get rid of a Cashman. You get rid of a Boone. You bring in a Vic DiBattista and a Fred Rubino. These guys are motivators. They're not just stand-up comedians. They're motivators, and I think they can get this ball club back on track.
Yep. I think we should plug Fred Rubino, right? Get the food out of here. He has a podcast similar to ours. He's a very recurring guest. If we can get Ticked Off Vic on here, that'd be a big get. Is Vic a Met fan or a Yankee fan?
Oh, he's a big Yankee fan.
Big Yankee fan.
He does the post-game show.
Yankees and Giants live from the post-game show where he kind of looks like he's the coach and everything.
Yeah. So I say that he just doesn't have to look like the coach. He could be the coach. Let's save money, get rid of Boone, bring in DiBattista, and Brian Cashman, you're out. Fred Rubino is the new general manager of the Yankees.
We have just breaking news, Doc. Fred Rubino, the king of Brooklyn, right? Let's bring the Yankees back to their Brooklyn roots, and we need someone who has those Brooklyn ties.
Brooklyn roots?
Yeah, Fred Rubino, the Brooklyn Dodgers, right?
Yankees back to their Brooklyn roots.
Bring Fred Rubino from the Brooklyn roots in New York. He's got that. We need a little Brooklyn attitude for this Yankee team.
Brooklyn attitude.
The Bronx Bombers aren't enough.
Guys, real quick, I joined 2 minutes late. I was getting everything set up here. You mentioned firing Boone, which is a no-brainer. I say they lose tomorrow and get swept by the Red Sox at home. He goes tomorrow night. Monday morning, there's a new coach in the office, head coach or manager.
So who do you see realistically?
Here's the problem with that, though. I would love, as most people, to see Don Mattingly take over. He's in Toronto right now as assistant bench coach. Everybody's clamoring for him to get a shot. Don Mattingly wins the ring as a manager, after not getting a win as a player, the city would explode. You guys, most people our age, Doc, we're in that middle generation kind of. Who's your favorite Yankee? Most people are going to say Don Mattingly. The younger guys are going to say, like Steve, are going to say maybe Aaron Judge. But
people my age would probably say Jeter. I haven't heard Mattingly. A lot of people are big Paul O'Neill guys. A lot of people, definitely the Met fans, they'd say Keith Hernandez. But I don't know, maybe Don Mattingly. Like Bernie Williams.
What I'm saying, the problem with that though is that he's not available right now, and he's not going to leave Toronto mid-season.
So you put in the assistant coach. Who's the assistant right now?
The Yankees. That's unknown. here's the point I was bringing up.
Does have managerial experience.
You bring Joe Girardi back, who's out there right now.
Joe Girardi would never come back to the Yankees after what they did to him, and that whole relationship just ended so poorly. I don't think it looks any better that the Phillies went to the World Series when he left, so that's definitely not something that you can put on a resume if you're Joe Girardi. But just the way that they let Joe Girardi just kind of ice him out at the end of his contract, they took a while to kind of decide his future. Now, granted, it was supposed to be a rebuilding team. This was the 2017 Baby Bombers, rather. And he took them to Game 7 of the ALCS. And obviously, it was a very talented team. The year after, did it matter completely about the manager? No. But I think what Joe Girardi did in that season, and then to be let go right after in Game 7 of the ALCS, the season that they put together on a rebuild year again, all these young players. Joe Girardi, as much as he probably loves the Yankees, he probably has some very ill will towards that whole front office and the ownership.
The big and the boomer, Ron Blomberg. He's out there. He's well known. He's a great hitter, DH. I think you bring in a Blomberg.
We mentioned at the top. Now, I'd love to see Boone go, yes, but the most frustrating thing that you could say about Aaron Boone is the kind of the stuff that he says at the end of the press conference. And even though in today's big media landscape it drives you nuts, but the fact that Aaron Boone is a manager, before this season, he's had nothing but 90, 95 win seasons, 100 win seasons too. Probably the most successful Yankee manager in terms of win percentage in his first few years to start the season. Now, is Aaron Boone a bad manager? I don't think so. The fact that the Yankees are in a complete free fall right now when things are going bad and they're getting worse, that does not make him look good. So I'm not completely rectifying anything that he's done. But it starts at the top with Brian Cashman and the fact that this team got swept in the ALCS last year. And kind of what I talked about with Doc Holliday at the beginning, especially in baseball, but any team. I mean, Bobby, you know this in football, we know this in basketball. You cannot bring back, the same group of people and expect the same results. I mean, the most recent you could probably think about is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? They brought back all 22, and then they lost the second playoff game to the Rams. Just you cannot expect the same team over and over again, especially in an analytical-driven sport like baseball, where teams are constantly shuffling through young players. And the Yankees, they stayed indifferent. They kept that exact same lineup, and that was kind of the last straw on the camel's back, where they did not make any offensive upgrades. They did get a starting pitcher with Rodon, but you cannot say that bringing back Aaron Judge made that team better. It kept that team at par, at sea level, and despite many different opportunities that they could have gone, different avenues they could have gone, they stayed with Judge, and they sat on their hands after the Rodon deal. And that's what
Rodon, I haven't seen him win one game for the Yankees. I haven't watched many games, but every game that he's played in, I think they've lost. He's won one game. And he was touted to be the next Nolan Ryan. Come on.
The problem with the Yankees, and look, I'll give these guys all the credit in the world, but we're not going to win with guys that the last names are Bowers, McKinley, Allen, the guy that...
Sounds like Live Golf to me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these guys made it. They're beyond the cup of coffee in the MLB, as people would say, for guys who played a game or two. But you're not going to win with those guys in the lineup every single day.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that has been a big scar on Brian Cashman's resume, where he has failed to deliver top prospects. I mean, taking Aaron Judge aside here, can he find good bullpen relief? Yes, he can find any no-name person made them into a good reliever. But besides that, I mean, we just DFA'd Davey Garcia, who was our number one prospect at one point. And the fact that this team just cannot bring in quality stars. I mean, last year we had Oswaldo Cabrera. We thought that we had a little lightning in a bottle flash there, kind of a super utility man, and he's in AAA right now. Cabrera has done nothing. There has not been a steady stream of prospects from this Yankee farm system to prevent them from having to spend money, like we talked about, because young players, young, affordable players helps them make bigger splashes. And look at this Yankee lineup. There's been no youth in this lineup. You have Volpe, and even Volpe will give him a pass for his rookie season. But if he does not pan out, that is definitely, I think, the last nail in the Cashman coffin.
I think Volpe's for the most part, panning out, except for maybe he's a rookie, right? He's had 20, maybe 22 home runs this year.
I say bring back CC Sabathia.
Definitely not bad. I mean, you look at last year with Jeremy Pena, that does not make anything any easier for Anthony Volpe, and the fact that Pena came in, replaced Carlos Correa, who left from the Astros, and he came in and had a hell of a rookie season for the Astros. He's come back to earth, but not that Volpe's been doing a bad job, but just this Yankee farm system, it's either A, they refuse to bring up players, or B, they come up and they just have a whole lot of trouble. Going back a couple years, I mean, you think about guys like Clint Frazier, Miguel Andujar, and how the pandemic season kind of hampered these young guys from coming back up again after injury, and they had to wait a whole year after that, but just how they didn't pan out too. And those were big guys that were supposed to be big staples in this lineup, and they failed them too. So you can look at Davey Garcia, you can look at Clint Frazier, you can look at Miguel Andujar, to name a couple of bad marks on the prospect resume, and I think that's what this next month of baseball is going to come down to, where the Yankees are 15 games out, 3 games under 500. You know you're not making any moves. Now the front office is going to play to keep their jobs, because they're definitely feeling the heat, so they're going to play to win. But at some point, you got to take a look at what you have in the farm system. You bring up Oswald Peraza, you bring up Cabrera, you bring up Pereira. Anyone that you have to. Maybe even Wells, the catcher, is 23 years old in Double-A. He's my age.
And why not give the Martian a chance? You mentioned Ronnie in 2017. That's the year they sold off of the trade deadline and brought up some rookies, and they made a run. It might be too late now, because now we're in September, almost into September. No, well, not yet, but, maybe too late now. But, hey, they win tomorrow. We're like 5.5 out of the wild card, because they're chasing Boston for the last spot there.
Yeah, Yankees right now, 5 teams under, and they're 7.5 games out.
Back-to-back grand slams for the Red Sox. And building up on the Yankees, their ace.
I mean, Garrett Cole, out of all teams, he probably struggles the most against the Red Sox. So you have to give him that. But, I mean, Cole's been the only bright spot in every 5 days. So when he has a bad start, you can't blame him for that. Every pitcher should have a bad start. But,
real quick, my guy Anthony and other people we were over the Yankees schedule the last 40 games.
No, we're not going to do this. We're going to stop that right now.
Real quick. The only thing we got to say about that is, going over the schedule, we still have, the Tigers, the Nationals, the Rockies, and the Royals.
So we could go undefeated, is what you're saying. We could win every series, maybe?
But you still have Astros, we still have Red Sox, and the Rays.
Will the Yankees make the playoffs at the end of the season?
No.
No. Too far behind.
Too far behind.
You don't have the aces. Basically, it comes down to Cole and a bucket of balls.
I mean, you just lost a series against the atrocious Miami Marlins. You lost